Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and this is my granny era. Today I want to share with you guys my pile of possibilities for Historathon 2025 quarter one. If you are not familiar with Historathon, check out the link in my description box below for Vin Revenant Reads. He has an announcement video about Historathon and you can get all the details there. The basic gist is that we read books from different eras of history throughout the 4 quarters of the year. The first quarter is going to be January, February, and March, and we will read books from ancient history through 500 AD. So today I'm going to share with you guys the pile of books that I kind of culled from my shelves last night on my own permanent collection, and then the TBR shelf that I have behind me. And these are the things that I have either saved from last year that I didn't get to, or things that I have collected throughout the year to save for quarter one. I think quarter one is probably, I don't know if it's my very favorite, but it's one of my favorites. So I'm really looking forward to it. All right, so these are in no particular order. They're actually in order from like smallest to biggest because I made a stack that wouldn't topple over. So these are just my possibilities. May get to them, may not, but they're things that I have on the list just so I know I got some stuff. And then I'm probably gonna get some more here very soon. So I'll share those with you in a future book haul. So number one on the list is The Discovery of the Tomb of Tutankhamun by Howard Carter and A.C. Mace. So this book has lots of illustrations and photographs, and it's basically just Howard Carter's story of finding the tomb of King Tut. So while it is written in more modern times, it's about a topic that definitely took place before 500 AD, right? So I'm gonna read through that. I've got a couple other, at least one other book on Egypt here in my pile, so that will be a good accompaniment to that. This one is The Fires of Vesuvius by Mary Beard. Now last year I read, what was it? Confronting the Classics by Mary Beard. And it was not what I thought it was gonna be. I wasn't super impressed. I mean, it was a good book. It just wasn't what I was looking for. It was just kind of a book of her own essays and publications that she had sort of compiled. And she's very confrontational. So it wasn't what I was looking for. But I think The Fires of Vesuvius will be something that I will be interested in. So this is a story of Pompeii. It's got some photographs and illustrations, and it looks like it's just kind of an archaeological and social study on Pompeii. So I know some of you guys have read that. You guys can let me know if you've read that and if you liked it. This book I think I'm going to be going through the whole year depending on what era I'm in. This is a history of the British Isles. I've read a lot of history on England, so I don't really know. I may abandon it at some point, but I'm going to start it. And then just for this quarter, I'll read the portion that is applicable, and then put my bookmark in and save it for quarter 2 and so on, and just kind of move through this book. I've had it on my shelf for quite a while. At one point I was just gathering everything I could find on England and its history and geography and stuff. And then this is just one that kind of I held on to, but I've read, like I said, a lot since, so I don't know how long I'll stay with this book, but we'll see. Next up, this is one that I ordered for last year and never got to. This is Gladiatrix, a true story of history's unknown warrior woman, or woman warrior, by Amy Zoll. So apparently there was hit myself in the face with the book. Apparently there was an archaeological dig, and in London in the 21st century, the world learns that the ancient burial ground of a gladiator is unearthed. So, we're going to find out where that was and how, all the details for that. But basically they think it was a woman. They think it was a woman warrior. So that's cool. So I'll read that. And then this also is one that I'm just going to read portions of. This is called A History of Knowledge by Charles Van Doren. And this basically just talks about like when the world knew the stuff it knew at one point in history and how knowledge expanded, and then what kind of knowledge different civilizations had at different points in history. So again, this one I'll just stick a bookmark in each time I get to a new quarter. This one is The Archaeology of Ancient Egypt. I've had this on our school shelves for quite a few years, probably a good 15 years or so, and it's got my oldest daughter's name written in it. I guess it was one that was hers. It has a lot of illustrations and again talks about just archaeological digs in Egypt, which I think is super cool. It's something I've always been interested in but don't know a whole lot of details about. This one is one that I've also had on my shelf for about 15 years in the school area. When I lived in Oregon, we lived in a small town that had a library book sale every year, and it would take up this entire convention center. It was massive. And so I would go in there on the last day, like the last 2 hours, you could do like $5 a bag or something. And so I would gather up just everything that looked remotely interesting, and that's how I built my homeschool library. And so over the years, I have got rid of a lot of that stuff, but some of these things I've kept, and I think this one is really interesting. It's got a lot of stuff about, you know, architecture and different architectures in different parts of the world. And so here's the wall. So I think it will be an interesting read with lots of photos and, oh, here we go. Always like reading about Easter Island. So yeah, this will be fun. All right, and then I have this very thin book that I bought at the Stonehenge. You know, the little store, you know, every place has a little shop when you're visiting the different sites in England. So I bought this at the shop when I went in 2019. I think this is, yeah, 2019 when my husband and I went. I bought this, and I still haven't read through it. I've been to Stonehenge again since one more time, but haven't actually read the little visitor guide. So I want to read through that. And then finally, I have this book on ancient Rome. Now, this is something that I picked up when my husband and I went out shopping for my daughter's birthday last week. My youngest daughter turned 12 and she wanted to go to the bookshop. And so I took the opportunity to grab some books for quarter one. I actually only found this one for quarter one, but I did find some for further, you know, quarters. But this is just it's like a textbook sort of thing. It comes from Barnes and Noble. It's in that section, you know, where they just have all the picture books. So it's a book with a lot of information and just a lot of artifacts, a lot of art and sculpt, you know, just different stuff. And the story of ancient Rome, just kind of on a basic level. And I am finding that that really helps me when I am introducing myself to a new time in history. If I just find things like this, where there's a lot of visuals, a lot of stuff for me to kind of be able to build the story in my imagination of what these people, you know, were like, what they did, how they lived, and then get the basic gist of their history from something like that. That's kind of a little bit more textbooky, encyclopedic sort of book, and then start to go into things that are a little more deep and like focused studies, right? Like the story that I was telling you about here from Mary Beard, right? This is just going to be on Vesuvius. It's just going to be on Pompeii in that area. This one is just going to be on King Tutankhamun, but when I study something at a broader sort of overarching blanket level and get kind of the basic gist, right, then I can deep dive into these different portions and more detail, because I will just kind of have in my imagination sort of how it goes, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to reading for Historathon quarter one. Like I said, I'm probably going to have a few more to add to this as time goes on, and I've got 3 months, so I think I probably could make a pretty good dent in these, if not get them all finished. And if I finish my reading goal for this month, we're on the 27th of December. If I finish early, I may cheat and start on one of these early. We'll see. I've got a couple of weeks of just reading and chill time ahead of me, so maybe I'll get to start one early, but I surely will get a good start on them nevertheless in January, because there's just hardly anything on my schedule and I'm so happy. All right, guys, I hope this was inspiring and interesting to you. Let me know if you're joining Historathon quarter one. What sort of things have you read in the past? What are you looking forward to reading? If you've put out a video with your pile of possibilities, let me know so I can come check it out. Hope everybody's having a great day and have a great weekend. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.